what to do. There's caffeine on the house, it's active, radioactive. Loving you felt like dying on the operating table, like climbing a ladder till I give up and fall. Like the anesthesia didn't work, and I feel the creation of every scar. Like a movie I'm chained to.
Wait, really quick, guys, I have to tell you about my GoFundMe for my music career. I have a GoFundMe for my music career starting from $0, raising money for ads to grow my audience and to reach record labels. If things grow, then I will eventually be using that money to turn my YouTube demos into full professional real recordings. And help me to go as far as possible. I bet if you guys will do your best to help me and to invest, you guys could probably turn me into the biggest pop star in the world. It's just going to really depend on how much you guys are willing and able to help me. So please do what you can to help, and I love you. Mwah. Bye.
I have 1 penny to buy this iced coffee, but this is everything you gave me. How did you know the gum on the ground was yours if you've never seen it before? There are no refunds for this part of me. Don't forget where you were when we met. I wanted to be liquidated, but they haven't found me yet. I'll spell it out for you when I'm free. There's disrespect in the water and the liquor can.
Hi guys, I'm Celeste. Hello. 1 second, I'm gonna set you down. Wait. Okay. So, yeah. Wow. I have to erase this at all. I have 2 songs that I recorded that I didn't put out yet. So, those were some lyrics. I'm about to have to edit those after this, and then those are coming out whenever they're coming out, you know? Okay. I just have like dry cereal in this cup to eat. Anyway. You're balancing on a mug, so you might fall down. You're sort of like, it's working and not working at the same time. Makeup still looks good from earlier, but anyway, if you were wondering. And honestly, it was super easy to put on. Like, maybe I'll wear makeup more often. I don't know, guys. I don't know. It's been so long. I don't know. So, that's not the point. You know what I wanted to talk about? So, the only way I learn how people put on concerts, right, is by watching and trying to pay attention to like what they do and don't do. And I pay attention to like, you know, videos that come up with like audio that was not descriptive. I think what I mean is, okay, do people do like live vocals versus when they say they do, right? Like, culture is weird right now in pop music, right? A lot of people do live vocals every time. So they like memorize their song, they like make sure they're gonna perform it like every note, like exactly perfect on every word, exactly perfect timing, all of that, perfect. Some people, you see them like holding a microphone, they're like la la la, and then they drop it and the song is still going, and then you can tell that the song, like the sound of it didn't change in a way. But then sometimes people, you could tell when they drop their microphone, right? Yeah, the track is still going in the background, but you could tell that they were singing still, like with it, like they had their microphone still turned on, right? Then they drop it, and you can tell that the audio is different because it's like you can tell that, like, I don't know how to explain it. You know what I mean? The only way I really learn like what do they do versus not do is by watching what they do in like literally like YouTube clips and stuff of people who are like pop stars. Like that's how I really can tell like what they're doing, is just by that and just trying to pay attention, because obviously I don't have someone to like advise me on what that would be, so I can start like practicing my version of whatever I would be doing. You know what I'm saying? So the debate, I think our world is so weird because it's set up to where like the audience normally owns the performer like so much because of what the performer hasn't told the audience. So culture is so weird to where like if they found out, are they going to try to cancel the person for not telling them or what? Like it's so weird. People make their personal brand like this mountain that they can just fall off of and die. Like nobody has been strong enough to say, well, I would prefer to do my show this way. And if people still want to show up, they can. And then actually tell them what they really do. Like nobody's been strong enough to just say, this is the way I want to do mine. And then tell them and then do it. No one's been strong enough like ever to do that. As far as like pop stars and like the ones I know about. No one's been strong enough to really tell them what they really do and explain it and break it down, you know? Like, no one's been strong enough to be like, to say like, oh, maybe, okay. You know, it goes one of three ways. They're lip syncing the whole thing, or every vocal from them is their own voice right now, but it's processed through auto-tune in the microphone, okay? Versus the other option is where they have their own voice that's processed through auto-tune in the microphone. I was gonna say microwave. In the microphone, right? Technology, I don't know what that is. Okay. Their actual voice, right, would be the third version, like while they're singing over the track of themselves singing it, okay? And then there's different variations where people have like backup singers added to any three of those options, right? There's usually a lot of singers and a lot of dancers on stage and stuff, right? So, yeah. But nobody who has done any version of not completely just, it is auto-tuned vocals, but they're like live vocals, right? Nobody's admitted to not doing that, but a lot of people don't do that. But why is it like they could fall into hell if they don't do that, but nobody can admit what's going on? I think what everybody means to say is that the show must go on regardless of how the show's gonna go on. And everybody's had a lot of privilege to be able to make sure that the show is going on in a specific manner or capacity, right? Like, not only must the show go on, but the show must be good when it goes on. Flawless, honestly. And nobody's, you know, everyone's had enough privilege that they've never had to say, yeah, the show must go on either way. It's like, do people own you as a person when they buy tickets? Maybe they wouldn't feel like they do if you weren't always lying to them. If they, you know, if you felt personable enough that you could just have a conversation and be like, hey guys, what I'm gonna say about me is if I ever have an opportunity to put on a show, I'm gonna put on a show, okay? And it's gonna be the best kind of show that I have the ability to do, but I don't know what abilities I have yet, okay? And it takes time and, you know, a long time and a lot of practice to have any form of abilities. But if I ever have the opportunity to put on a show will happen, okay? And it'll be the best, most flawless show possible. Does that mean that I have any idea what kind of audio options I'm gonna have access to and the privilege of having? It could go any way. It could go any way, okay? It could go any way. It could go all the way from that side of the spectrum to all the way to that side of the spectrum, or anywhere in between. I'll say that right now. Because you wanna know what? It's not weird to say, right now I don't have the privilege of being able to put on a show for you guys. I don't have tickets you could buy. That's not weird to say. Okay, it's also not weird to say none of them have been able to like find a way to admit which end of the spectrum they're on, because as far as that, like some people, you know, you see videos of them saying all their vocals are live, and then you see moments where all their vocals are not live. None of their vocals are live, and then you find out and you're like, oh. Not that it matters, because people go to the show to have a good time and to have a good experience. Then yeah, they care about the quality of the show, like it can't be awful. They're gonna be like, I paid for that, it can't be awful. You have to like try, you know, you have to practice. But if they're a really good dancer and they're sometimes lip syncing, nobody really seems to care. But why can't they say it? Why are they shy when it comes to like, okay, your audience is really into like you dancing and they can kind of tell that maybe the vocals wouldn't be perfect if you were also dancing. Why is it hard to talk about though? Some of them you could tell. Anyway, some of them you could tell. Like, okay. I don't know, guys. Would you feel like if I went out there and put on a show, one of the three options, right? Whether they're completely live vocals, completely not, or a mix between. I would say a mix between. It seems to be what most people do. Okay. Some people not, but a lot of people, a mix between seems pretty normal. From what I've seen, a mix between seems pretty normal. Something is recorded that's their voice, it's just playing, and then they're singing along to it, or they're adding to it in some way, right? And then there's a lot of dancing that happens. That's not that weird. That's actually like, looks to be the standard, but not telling the audience looks like the standard. But I don't really have access to all that because I don't know how I'm gonna get to the next level. So telling you guys is how I would get to the next level. So I guess if people wanted to follow in my exact footsteps at some point in the future, then it would be me changing the standard of that, but I don't know why. And not knowing how I would get to the next level and wanting to ask you guys, what do you guys think of that? Is how I would get to the next level is by being transparent about not knowing the difference or why it matters. I think there's a weird energy thing going on where some people don't know why they pay for tickets for a show if the vocals aren't raw, or not raw. I was saying like I do like raw vocals and like a lot of in every single recording of my voice, because I've never used a microphone, I've just sung in Snapchat. So those are unprocessed vocals, no auto-tune, right? But every singer on that stage, any stage ever, is using auto-tune because that's also the standard. So what I have access to is a lot below the standard anyway. So if I said, okay, I did that at some point in time, maybe I don't feel like I have to make up for something. So if I had a recording of my own raw vocals that I've already created and then I sing along to it on a stage and you guys can hear me in the microphone because it's not turned off. I don't think I would want like a completely turned off microphone because I think that's weird. I would want it to be able to be heard because I don't want to do like a show that feels so like silent and weird like that, like where it's just the track playing. I don't like that. But I also have so many songs. I don't know how I would like learn them without them playing in a way. Like only because I don't know how people do that. I don't know if they do, but Also, if I'm gonna be like dancing at some point, I feel like having the track playing in the background while I'm singing, even though you can hear me, I feel like doing a combination is good. Because that means if my like vocals are not 100% perfect, then the track is playing in the background, you guys can still hear that, and then you understand what's going on. I think that's the way I would do it if I ever had the opportunity, you know? Because then that would make, I don't know, that would make up for like if I don't sound like perfect because I'm like dancing, right? Because I would want to be like focused on multiple things at the same time, but you know what I mean. Like, I don't know. That's what I think would be good. That's what I think would be like the best combination, because then I don't want to, here's what I don't want to do. I don't want to be so overly confident that I would just be using live vocals only. And what I like I don't want that to be like a forced standard that then I'm like betraying you if I don't uphold, because that doesn't feel like it makes sense. You know what I mean? I wouldn't like, I'm not trying to set up some kind of like, I wouldn't want some kind of personal brand that would be like, oh, you could fall off that and like die, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know why that's the standard out there. The standard is like if people find out it's like a scandal, like you killed somebody, like what? But that's the standard, is like that it's on the same level as that. That doesn't seem fair to anybody. Like, that's weird, you know? Not being transparent is the standard, so that when people find out you lied to them, it's equivalent to you killing somebody. That doesn't make sense. But that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. It's like, why would people own me to such a high degree that they could feel betrayed by me being honest with them? Like, that's a red flag, right? That's pretty bad. I think that's pretty bad. Right? Right? I don't know, dude. I think that's pretty bad. I don't think it's weird for me to be honest with you and say that I don't know yet, because I don't really know the difference or why it matters. But if I had to guess right now which one I would do, I would have my microphone turned on, so if I'm singing into it, you guys would know and you would hear it, because I don't think that's weird. I think that's good. And I think people like the live vocals because they can hear like your vocals from that exact day, and I think that's normal. But when people only do that, I feel like they sacrifice the quality of the overall show, because then if they're not doing that well at their job that day, like you can kind of hear like, oh, their voice, like they have a cold or something, like you can tell like it's like the vocals are like not good. But then it's like you're sacrificing the quality of the show if you do it that way. But if you have like a combination, if you still have the track playing but they can also hear you at the same time, you still have music playing, so it does, and the song, and you singing it the right way even if you mess up, so then it almost like makes it not so giant of a problem, so that it doesn't make it like you're failing, not even just in what people see of you, but like you don't want the feeling of, oh, I'm putting on like a terrible show, and you know, and now I feel like I'm wasting your money or something, like something weird, you know what I mean? But at least if the track's playing, then it's like they know the quality of show that they went to go to, and most people are going to like have fun with their friends, they're going to like have a night out, like have a good experience in a safe, normal way, but like they're trying to have a good experience, they're trying to have their night out, their adventure, and you're putting on the best show of your personal ability. And sometimes the best show of your personal ability when you first start out, I think, is that you do have the track playing in the background, and that seems to be, again, the standard, but not telling you is the standard. But like I said, what do I know? It's not like I have access to like the funding or whatever I would need. I don't even know what I would need, which is why I'm here making a video of it, because there's not risk to telling you that I don't know what I would do. There's nothing I can lose at this point. And I think there's also this weird thing going on where it feels like a scandal to like, for people, right, out there already, they can't like ask their audience because it's like a scandal that they even considered not doing live vocals, which is weird, right? First of all, you've never heard raw vocals at a show. They're always using like tremendous amounts of auto-tune so that it sounds good and so that it sounds like it's at some kind of standard. There's no way you've ever actually heard like no auto-tune at all, probably. You probably haven't, I don't know. I'm assuming there's something on there, you know. As far as people on stage, like usually you hear like something, but people don't feel so betrayed by that because I don't think they know what that is. There's also a lot of like people just don't want to teach their audience anything. There's like, I don't know all the different kinds. There's like compressed vocal things they do. There's like, I don't know, things to like polish the sound and make it sound actually good because maybe they don't sound good. They have all kinds of stuff to where they don't even really have to be that good of a singer to be out there. They just need money. Flip it around. I don't have money, but I'm still trying, so I have to feel pretty confident about my raw vocals with no effects or compression or whatever you want to call it, or like polishing. So I have to at least have the confidence to do it and put myself out there. If I went viral, I would probably be compared to people who have. Like, you don't even know. Dude, if I ever went viral, okay, day one of that, there would probably be covers of people using auto-tune singing the songs that I already created. There's a tremendous amount of risk because then they could be trying to say it's theirs and stuff and whatever, and the whole like, you know, if people don't know who I am and I have so many songs, like it wouldn't be recognizable that it was like me, you know what I'm saying? It would not be recognizable. It would be like people, I don't even want to say it, but obviously they'd have to be like a terrible person if they're trying to claim something as theirs. I don't own copyright to anything because how would I acquire that? You know what I mean? You have to be the most well-known version of you, basically, to own the copyright of yourself. Or the first extremely well-known version of you to own the copyright of it. That is a whole entire thing. They don't, like, the world, the planet does not see small artists as existing because you don't own the copyright of yourself necessarily if you don't like trademark it, you know, with a lot of money or whatever that requires, I don't know. Or you have to just automatically be the most well-known version of yourself. Or somebody could be walking around as you and be the one who's legally correct doing it. There's so many problems with the world. Essentially, you're nobody if you weren't like born with money for some reason, which is crazy. We'll see how far I go, how far I get, okay? Lipstick. We'll see. But like, yeah. I don't know. I'm having fun, but I have no idea. Anyway, that's how I feel right now about the concept of like, would I just use the vocals I've already recorded for like backing track sounds if I were like doing a live show, or if I were ever on tour or something. I think that would be the easiest, but I don't know. I don't know what I would require or need, so yeah, I don't know what I would need. But I'm fine with being open about not knowing, because it's not like I have like employees I could ask like, hey, like what do we normally do for this? Like, that doesn't make sense. Like a lot of people, if people are famous or they already have money, they could just ask people like, what do you normally do for this? Like, and then people would just actually tell them an answer. Obviously I don't have that, so I'm like, hey, audience of 3 people, what do we normally do for this? In 10 years I might get an answer from somebody, you know. It's very much like that. Anyway,
they can't tell me what to do. There's caffeine on the house, it's active, radioactive. Loving you felt like dying on the operating table, like climbing a ladder till I give up and fall. Like the anesthesia didn't work, and I feel the creation of every scar. Like a movie I'm chained to.
Wait, really quick, guys, I have to tell you about my GoFundMe for my music career. I have a GoFundMe for my music career starting from $0, raising money for ads to grow my audience and to reach record labels. If things grow, then I will eventually be using that money to turn my YouTube demos into full professional real recordings. And help me to go as far as possible. I bet if you guys will do your best to help me and to invest, you guys could probably turn me into the biggest pop star in the world. It's just going to really depend on how much you guys are willing and able to help me. So please do what you can to help, and I love you. Mwah. Bye.
I have 1 penny to buy this iced coffee, but this is everything you gave me. How did you know the gum on the ground was yours if you've never seen it before? There are no refunds for this part of me. Don't forget where you were when we met. I wanted to be liquidated, but they haven't found me yet. I'll spell it out for you when I'm free. There's disrespect in the water and the liquor can't